Hello everyone, Corey here at AbelCine, New York, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at the new MoVI Pro. So when Freefly first introduced us to the MoVI several years ago now, they literally changed the way that we think about camera movement. And with the new MoVI Pro, it's been completely redesigned to make the system even easier to set up and operate. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at some of the new features. One of the first things that you'll notice that has been changed here is the kind of original handlebar design has now been integrated into the MoVI ring. So no longer do you have to carry around that separate tuning stand just to try and do rebalancing, or even if you just want to rest the unit after a few long takes. With this new MoVI ring that's on here, you can actually set this down with these 2 feet, be able to rest, go ahead and retune the system without having to go ahead and break back out that tuning stand and worry about carrying a whole nother piece of equipment with you. Other features that help to increase the usability of the system include things like this nice mounting bracket here for your monitor. So on the top of the unit here, you'll see that we do have the new battery mounting system. These dual batteries are smart in that they have a nice power indicator on the side here. They will provide enough power for not only the MoVI itself, but also other accessories, including things like your camera. So I have a Red Epic W on here today that I am powering off of a P-tap port on the bottom of the gimbal. And I also am utilizing one of the other ports here for a red RCP control cable. What this allows me is full integration of my red control and many of my settings here through something like my MoVI controller. This will allow me to do things, for example, like rack focusing, adjusting my ISO or white balance in the middle of a take, so that we don't have to end up cutting to just make any kind of subtle adjustments to the shot. I have full access to these features right here, and we won't have to go ahead and have the operator set the unit down just so that we can try and access some controls on the body. This also frees us up from having to use anything like a fizz system or a lens control system, because the motors inside the Canon EF lenses can actually be controlled directly from the MoVI controller. I will have access to things like my aperture on here, as well as the focus. To make setup even easier, Freefly has included this small LCD screen on the back. And what this can be used for is not only monitoring the current status of the gimbal, but also doing things like, for example, tuning or binding to a controller, which is what I had to do to get this MoVI connected here. In order to bind the unit, all you'll have to do is come over to the radio menu tab and press the bind button. As long as your MoVI controller is set on the same channel, these will easily match up here. Once I have the MoVI controller communicating with the MoVI itself, and I'm able to do things, for example, like panning and tilting the gimbal, that's when I have to go into the red menu so that I can actually change the setting here and allow me to access the controls of the camera. So to do that, what I have to do is go into the menu, come into Settings, Setup, and Communication. From here, I'll be able to go under my serial port and say that I want to use the Red Link Command Protocol. Under RCP at the final tab, I will also enable the remote control panel. All that I had to do on my Red over here was make sure that my serial settings were set up for the Red Link Command Protocol. Once I did that and I bound both of my units, I'll have full access to many of these camera settings directly through the controller.